Hello, and welcome to the final stretch of English 112 Composition 2. For this video, I want to go over a few things in relationship to closing off the semester, along with your final paper, and also an explanation of how the grades have been going and how they're going to go for the rest of the course of the semester. So the first thing I want to talk about is your next paper, which is the thesis supporting paper, which is due June 26th. Before I get into that, however, I want to just go over some important dates that I'm also going to repost on the announcements page that are coming up. So the first important date is coming up in 5 days, and that is June 20th. June 20th, you need to have a rough draft of your thesis supporting paper uploaded in the discussion board post number 4, and you need to have that uploaded by 11:59 p.m. The second thing is your response to your partner, which if I were you, I would keep the same partner that I had during the annotated bibliography, and that is due no later than 11:59 p.m. on June 23rd. And finally, your final draft of your thesis supporting paper is due June 26th, and that needs to be uploaded to the Dropbox in e-learning. So as you are planning to write this paper and as you are planning to get feedback, I also want you to be aware that you are going to need to set up some time as you're planning to also get your draft submitted to the RIT Center, or for those of you that go to the RIT Center and to go see a writing consultant face to face. So you want to be sure that you plan enough opportunity or plan enough time to write multiple revisions, to read, reread, edit, get feedback from your partner within the class, and also get feedback from a writing center consultant. One of my main philosophies of writing is that writing is revision. Writing does not happen in a vacuum, and we do not write perfect compositions in one attempt. Writing is a process that continuously requires revisions. The next thing that I want to talk about specifically are the requirements for the thesis supporting paper. Now, a couple of you had minor issues with executing every single requirement in the annotated bibliography. So I want to be sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to the final paper. Make sure that you go to the thesis supporting paper assignment sheet, which is located in the content section of e-learning. After you read the directions for the thesis supporting assignment sheet, at the bottom where it says the grading rubric, you'll find a list of 15 characteristics that I will be looking for in your final paper. And if you look at the annotated bibliography, that's the grading rubric that I use to give you feedback and also to come up with your grade. So as I'm going down this list, you want to make sure that you have a correct title page according to MLA or APA format. Again, make sure that you review what title pages look like in either APA, which is American Sociological Association, or MLA, which is the Modern Language Association format. Make sure that you choose a format and stick to it. 9 times out of 10 with the MLA, you just have to have your name in the upper left-hand corner with the title of your paper, and then you begin your paper along with the page numbers in the upper right-hand corner. The APA format works a little bit differently, in which you have to have a separate title page, and then you have to have a separate page for the abstract, and then the next page actually begins your paper. So again, those links are in the content section on e-learning, and make sure that you review those carefully. The next thing you need to have is an academic title. Now, I'm going to post a link on how to create academic titles, and that will be in the announcements page. But you can also supplement that information. There's another link on eLearning that talks about creating academic titles in the content section under how to write the thesis supporting paper. Make sure that you are aware of this. I am going to be looking at academic titles. One of the things that you want to stay away from in academic titles is that academic titles are not questions, or academic titles do not just tell me what the topic is, but academic titles have two characteristics. They have an attention grabber phrase, and then they also tell the reader what you are going to do. So for instance, if I am doing a paper on gun control, the attention grabber might be something along the lines of "don't shoot," and then I'll have a colon, which is the two dots, and then after that it'll be an analysis of the gun control debate in America. So notice the academic title has an attention grabbing phrase, and then that comes, and after that attention grabbing phrase, you're actually telling the reader what you are going to do. So whether it is an argument, an analysis of, that's what you do in the second part of the title, but you'll see that in the link that I've provided on eLearning. You want to make sure that you have a clear thesis statement, including a claim and a reason. Now, I have given everyone feedback on their thesis statements in the discussion board post number 3. You want to be sure that you go back and review the discussion board post number 3, review my comments not only for your thesis statement, but also look at everyone else's comments, because you will be able to find information or helpful information that I've said to another student about their thesis statement to give you more information about how to create and design a thesis statement. I will also include another link on eLearning in the announcements page about creating thesis statements. But when you think about, in its bare bones, you want to think that your thesis statement needs to have a claim and a reason. Basically, your claim is your "this I believe" statement. So for instance, you may say that I believe that Michigan should implement all year-round school system. That's my "this is I believe" statement. My reasons for this is that research shows that implementing an all year-round school curriculum will increase student test scores, and it will help students become better prepared for college. So the rest of my paper, my thesis supporting paper, will gather research, synthesize that research to support my reasons, and my reasons will support my claim. And you'll see that based off of the feedback that I've been giving you all to sort of get you thinking about the organization of your paper in regards to your thesis statement. Remember, your thesis statement is the most important statement of your paper, and it should not be overly complicated, but at the same time, a thesis statement is not a question. A thesis statement provides both a "this I believe" statement along with the reasons that are going to support your statement, and you use the research I should say, to support your reasons. Again, you need to have an attention-grabbing introduction. I don't just want you to just regurgitate and tell me what your topic is about, but tell your reader why they should care about this particular topic. Perhaps make a personal connection. Perhaps introduce a startling statistic. Perhaps open up with an analogy or a reference to pop culture or film or literature, but create an attention-grabbing introduction. Your body paragraphs have to include cited information to support the writer's thesis statement. So this means that you need to include in-text citations and you need to include direct quotes. Make sure that you review how to integrate quotes into your writing, and I've included a link on that in the content section on eLearning. This is extremely important, and this is where a lot of you lost points in the annotated bibliography, and that you need to reference at least 5 academic sources. You can go beyond this minimum requirement. So for instance, you can reference 5 academic sources, but maybe you have 3 sources from a newspaper or Time magazine or from online that you want to use. But the whole point of this exercise is that you are able to identify analyze, and synthesize academic sources. Make sure that when you're looking for academic sources that you are using the college library. Do not rely on Google to find academic sources. The only reason that you should be using Google to find academic sources is to use Google Scholar. And in the event you use Google Scholar, you'll still have to cross-reference that information with the information that you find on Delta College's library. So for instance, Google Scholar will give you a title for an academic source that's related to your topic, but you probably will not have full access to that source. So this is when you take that title and go look it up on the e-databases that we have at Delta College. If you have any issues with accessing the databases, or if you have any questions about how to navigate the databases, or even if you have issues with accessing articles on the databases, please let me know. These are the good and productive questions that I like to work with because I know that you are searching for academic sources and not just relying on Google. And as a sidebar to that, avoid citing Wikipedia like the plague. There are so many reasons why you should not cite from Wikipedia. However, you can use Wikipedia to work for you in the sense that you get a sense of what your topic is about. Also, when you're citing, or also when you're using Wikipedia, is that you should go to the bottom of that Wikipedia page, and that might give you a jumping point to look at their works cited page to help find some more sources. Along with that, if you find an academic source, you can find another source, another academic source in your paper by selecting an academic source on that writer's bibliography or works cited page. So to come back to some of the features of academic sources, one of the telltale signs of academic sources is that they use in-text citations, that they have an abstract, that they have a works cited or a bibliography page. There are no advertisements. The language is a little bit more difficult to read, and the articles are a bit more longer to read. But again, if you review those links on how to read academic sources, along with how to identify academic sources, at this point in the game, academic sources should not be that intimidating to you. But again, if you have any questions or concerns about how to navigate academic sources, how to evaluate academic sources, please let me know. The other thing you need to have is a strong conclusion. Just like you come into the game, you got to leave the game with a powerful statement that gets your readers thinking, that allows your readers to understand where you might be going with this research. One of the things I encourage students to do in their conclusion, especially at this level in the research process, is to go ahead and let your reader know that you there are still some limitations to your argument. So perhaps if you had more time, these are the other aspects that you would explore in more detail. Here are some of the limitations to the argument that you've presented, but to develop this a little bit more, or if you were to do further research, you would cover these particular aspects. That always leaves for a more engaging conclusion that gets your readers really thinking about your topic in a much more complex way. One thing that's extremely important in this paper that you'll see links for will be using attributive tags and using clear transitions between sentences and paragraphs. And give me 1 second, I have to punch in my computer. Okay, so make sure that you are using clear attribution. For instance, always letting your reader know that this is the author who is making this statement. So author X states, author X writes, author X believes, and I have a link on eLearning that talks all about source attribution. Source attribution is crucial because you want to be able to distinguish between the author's ideas and your ideas. In the past, students that have the most trouble on the thesis supporting paper is that they do not provide effective attributive tags. I am a stickler about attributive tags. Along with that, I am also a stickler about using direct quotes and not providing what I call a context for that direct quote. So one of the things, if you are directly quoting from a particular author, you don't want to just insert the quote, but you want to provide a context. You want to say this idea coming from this text says this thing. And then you want to, in your own words and ideas, respond to that information and tell your reader how that information is connected to and supports your thesis statement. In the idea of the use of clear transitions between sentences, go and look at the transition worksheet in eLearning under the thesis supporting section in the content section. This will help improve your writing tenfold, I promise. So you always want to be sure that you are holding your reader's hand from the beginning word to the last word of your paper and using clear transitions between sentences, using clear transitions between paragraphs helps provide a flow and a sense of connectivity for your reader. The next thing is that you want to be sure that your paper is written in Times New Roman 12-point font, that you also correct or use correct documentation style according to MLA or APA format. Make sure that you have the correct page numbers, your last name, page number in the upper right hand corner. Make sure that you carefully proofread, check for sentence clarity, effective word choice, spelling, grammar, and comma usage. And again, this is a requirement that you go to the RIT Center for confirmation. I don't do this to complicate your lives, but I do this because you need to get feedback on your paper from not only your partner in class, but you also need feedback from the RIT Center consultant. Because this course is such a condensed course and it's 6 weeks, I can't, or 7.5 weeks, I should say, I can't by the mere sheer load give every single person detailed feedback on their thesis supporting paper before they actually turn it in. However, if you use things like each other, if you use the RIT Center, and I will be willing to give a cursory sort of look at your paper to give you some general feedback, the more feedback you get, the better. And also using the RIT Center, I'm requiring you to use the RIT Center for this paper just to give you a sense of your surroundings, also to give you a sense of the resources that you have available to you here at Delta College. So hopefully those of you that have visited the RIT Center with the annotated bibliography have found some usefulness out of that exercise. And just so that you know, when I'm grading papers, I will look at what the RIT Center has said, and I will look at how you've addressed those comments in your paper, and that weighs into the grade that I give you on your final paper. And the last thing for your thesis supporting paper is that make sure that your paper is uploaded in the Dropbox as a Word document. And every Word document for this assignment needs to be saved with your first, last name, and thesis supporting paper in the title. So that's pretty much all. Those are the requirements that I am focusing on in your thesis supporting paper. Make sure that you read those requirements carefully because you do not want to be marked down for careless mistakes or overlooking something in the requirement section on the thesis supporting paper. Now, I'm going to end this video now because we're already at the 18-minute point, but I'm going to create another video to supplement this video to sort of give an overall sense of where we're going and what to expect in relationship to grades and in relationship to the upcoming discussion board posts. So if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. But for this video, happy writing, happy reading, and I will see you in cyberspace.